Hello, welcome to Strategic Painting. You're listening to Croydon this week, and I'm going to be taking you through and breaking down my hobby journey from beginning to present. It all really began in around 2016, 2017 when I first met Smorgonite. So a lot of you may or may not know, but we are actually engaged and are in a relationship. So when I first met him was when I first had an insight into Warhammer itself and what it entailed, and just a little bit more kind of initial information about it. So as previously said, I didn't know that it even existed. I had absolutely no idea about it, no knowledge or anything like that. And I kind of obtained that knowledge through Smorgonite and his hobby, essentially. So when we started talking, I remember he kind of explained what the hobby was in a bit more detail, showed me some of his models, his painting schemes, and a little bit of the lore. And I remember that the first model that I actually saw of his was his Warlord Titan, which took me back because I just remember thinking, I don't think I've ever seen anything like that or on that scale, with how big of a model it is. And I just remember being so intrigued by the detail and the effort that he's put into that model as well. He has recently repainted it from when I initially saw it, but there will be before and after pictures on Strategic Painting for you to have a look at. So from there, it was more kind of learning Warhammer through Smorgonite, but only on a basic sort of level. When we started talking a little bit more and things started developing, that's when my knowledge and the interest in the hobby started to develop as well. So in 2017, we had a trip to Cornwall together, and that was the first sort of time where I started to look at the hobby for myself. So Smorgonite bought me a box of Space Marines. It was the Primaris Space Marines, I believe, and a kind of a small painting set, which had a few colours in there. And we just spent some time, looking at how to build it and kind of looking at what paint schemes I would like, and kind of developing, just kind of like an initial trying it out to see if you like it. So when we were there, I was kind of thinking, right, this all seems a bit, I don't know if I'm going to, be bad at it. But, I mean, painting it and building it was actually quite fun, and it's something that we could have done together, and I think that time it was really nice to be able to spend some time together doing something that he is so passionate about. So basically I built some of those, and I painted it up in a kind of purple colour. At the time, I know that the colour, for Ultramarines was blue, but I didn't have any idea about Ultramarines, anything about the different legions, about the colours for the different legions, the backgrounds. I was just going by, that's a box of models, I've got some paints here, what do I want to do? Purple is my favourite colour, so that's the kind of colour that I naturally went for. I had some assistance with the kind of paints that would be best to be used, so I did quite a deep purple, and then kind of layered it and shaded it. So I was able to then kind of get an insight in first how to paint, and also the different kind of techniques and steps involved in painting as well. So that was fun. So initially I kind of, I'd built a few and painted a few as well. And then that was kind of the summertime, and I had a couple of weeks break from uni, and then I was due to go into my third year of uni. So after the Cornwall trip, I did have a lot of spare time. So I looked at improving the models that I'd already painted, and what else can I do to make them look unique. I'm by no ways a good painter. I'd never painted before. I'm not very artistic, but I thought, let's challenge myself. I've got all this spare time, I can put in some effort and I can put in some work. So I decided to experiment and put together little designs and see what works. And I managed to make some of the capes very unique. So one of my capes is very blood splattered, another one is a cameo effect, and another one is a take on like a galaxy feel. So I do have a variety of different things and elements and a kind of artistic take on some of my models to make them a little bit more unique. And I really enjoyed doing that because I had something that I was proud of to show for my models. They didn't all look the same. They had a little bit of uniqueness to them, and they were pretty much ready to be able to use if I ever then proceeded to kind of move on to gaming level. So those were done. Everybody that in the team was really impressed, considering I'd never done something like that before, and they did come out very well. I am still proud of it to this day. Looking back, I probably could do a better job on some of them, but they are very good for that time. So that kind of started. That was my first sort of art models that I had put together, and then it kind of escalated from there. I think I played a few games, but I really struggled with the rules and associating the models with the rules and what they are, and constantly flicking through codexes and stuff like that. And I couldn't get the hang of it. It was too complex for me as a beginner, and I just thought painting is probably what I enjoy, so I'll focus on that for now and try and learn the gaming maybe at a later stage. So I then moved on to Age of Sigmar for a little bit, as a lot of the members of the team were doing so as well, and I honestly was taken back that there were so many different elements involved in Warhammer and so many different gaming methods as well, and I didn't realise that there was so many. I thought the models that I had got and I had painted up, that was just a couple of the models that you can use. So it definitely was interesting to know that you could go down different avenues and play a variety of games. So I actually chose Sylvaneth because I really liked the idea of and the look of those models. I ended up trying to adapt it a bit differently again and make it look like a kind of cherry blossom feel. So I ended up doing that on some of the leaves on the models. I believe I think I got a start collecting set, so it had a variety of different models in there. I then got Alari out as well, and that just begun and kind of added to my techniques in painting as well. So I had some spare time and ended up just being imaginative and just thinking, what can I do to make this different? And I ended up being able to work on some blending techniques, and I ended up blending some of her cape, and it did look and it fits really well. I mean, I do have to finish some of the models and stuff like that, but that was something that I was really proud of. And we did end up then playing a couple of games. I think those for me were a little bit more easier to understand. I know that there's kind of different elements involved with the magic, but that was definitely something that was interesting, and I was able to kind of get my head around a bit easier than the 40k games. And then since then, I've been trying to find some more kind of models that I would like to do. We, as a kind of collective team, have moved more towards Horus Heresy style of gaming, and I do find that a lot easier to kind of play. So I chose the Space Wolves for my army. You may have heard me and Smorganite in our previous podcast kind of discussing that army and why I chose that and where that's going. So that's kind of what I'm working on now. My hobby journey hasn't been very long. It's not very detailed, but I've come a long way from a couple of years ago having no knowledge to now having 3 armies or so. So I think that the thing that we'll be doing next is playing more games to get my knowledge up of the gaming kind of element of it, building up my Space Wolves, and then potentially looking at some more armies that I can build up and take, so that when we're playing the Horus Heresy games, I have variety of different armies that I can play with and make each game unique. So that's where I am now. I do really enjoy the painting, but I am focusing on the games more so. And as a surprise for Smorgan Knight, he doesn't know that I'm doing this podcast, but I'm putting this together for him, and our 4-year anniversary is coming up very soon, so I thought I'd surprise him with a set of gaming vouchers so that he can redeem those if he ever wants to play some games with me. So I think, those will be redeemed very, very quickly after this podcast. So I'll be doing that, and I thought about, as an extra gift, looking at getting him the last remaining Primarch that he needs, which I believe is Lorgar, or potentially look at getting him the Adeptus Titanicus Warlord model, which will complete his set, as I know that he is quite enjoying the full-scale models at the moment, but it is out of stock, so we'll just have to see what I can get him. So hopefully he'll enjoy those presents, whichever I can get for him in the end. I'll update you all. And that's where I am at the moment. I am kind of, carrying on where I am, playing some more games and trying to build up and finish armies that I'm doing at the moment. I am very indecisive. I do kind of drop and move on to something else very quickly. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that, so that's something that I definitely want to start looking at, is finishing the stuff I've got and then moving from there. So hopefully in the next couple of months I'll be able to come back to you all and show you the progress from now till then, and kind of if I have any more army ideas I can share them all with you and kind of show you progress from now till then. So thank you for listening to this podcast. I know it might be a bit lengthy and me rambling on a little bit, but it's been nice to kind of run through my take on my hobby with you all, and hopefully onwards and upwards, and I can start looking at loads and loads more armies for you all. So thank you for listening, and hope to catch up with you all soon.